Okay, red dot. Sorry, I just thought of red dot. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my presentation. I'm going to run through a little introduction and a few things to explain about the chalkboard before I actually start. So, I guess I'll do that first. First thing I want to apologize for is I can't really erase that well on the chalkboard. I only have this eraser, and I don't have a wet rag, so it's not going to look too good. I apologize for that in advance. Another thing I'm going to apologize for is this walled off part of the board right now is because when I plan on lifting the board part way through the presentation, the projector actually obscures some of this section of the board. So I don't want to write on it and then when I lift it up, it's like, oh, where's the writing? Yeah, I'm sorry. It's going to be a little odd. And then Hello World. I wrote Hello World because I wanted to make sure how big I'm writing is actually visible to y'all. And this is going to be my benchmark because when I see it on the screen, it looks visible to me. And I'm assuming when I give the video to y'all, it's going to look visible to me. So I'm mainly going to be basing the stuff I write off of this phrase. So I want to keep it up there. I'm sorry, it also takes up some parts of the board also. And I want to thank you all in advance for bearing with me because this is going to be the first time I'm actually presenting on a chalkboard with like an actual presentation. Whenever I write on chalkboards and expo boards and like dry erase boards a lot for homework because I don't know why, I just like seeing my work down like that. And I have done it with friends too. However, this is the first time I'm actually doing like a kind of formal presentation where I'm like trying to communicate ideas like in a long manner. So I want to thank you all in advance for bearing with me. This is going to be a fun new experience. I don't want to say fun, actually. It's going to be a new experience. Let's say that. All right. An introduction. Hey, my name is Carlton Douglas. Hopefully I've talked to y'all, or else I'm just introvert, I guess. I don't know. I'm a second year going into third year, and I'm a civil engineering and computer science major. Currently, during summer one, I'm taking algorithms and math writing. That's the one class I'm doing this for, and I forget the name. Anyway, that is kind of my overview, I guess. I'll explain more things as I go on to see how it's more relevant to me for this presentation. However, I wanted to start saying this presentation is going to delve mostly into my understanding of civil engineering. About since January, I've seen this crash course video that goes over civil engineering as a brief overview. And while I think the video is good in the aspects that it's trying to communicate, I feel like the overview they give is a little bit limiting. And that's not in fault of the video itself, it's just me being a civil engineering student, I feel like there's a little bit more we can show people. The video was done by Crash Course. I hope y'all know them. They're fucking amazing. Hopefully John Green gets better. Recently he was diagnosed with cancer. Hopefully he's still okay. Or not hopefully he's still okay, but hopefully his treatment is hopefully his treatment goes well for him. And Hank Green also. Hank Green's amazing too. But the video was actually done by Dr. Samara. And I think she did an excellent job in the video. She even made like a pun around 7.43. Let me write that on the board. Pun 7.43. In the video that I'm going to put in the description, she does a pun right here, and I'm mad at it. I'm mad because it's bad, but it also made me laugh. Anyway, I'm going to kind of I don't want to say respond. This is not a response. This is more of a expanding of this video. Because while I believe some of the concentrations they went over are valid, I believe there's like some other stuff that we can also add to it. I believe that's it. I'm just going to get started and try and write down stuff about this video. Also, I'm just going to say Dr. Samara instead of Crash Course, even though it's like the whole team. I don't want to, especially with the writer strike. I don't know if the writer strike is still going on, but especially with the writer strike, I want to make sure to know that like when I say Dr. Smart, I mean the whole team, like everybody that helps in the production of this video. All right, let's start over here. Concentrate. That may be a little big. Oh, ooh, it's not big, but oh, I don't got face. Okay. In this video, she talks about a few concentrations within civil engineering, and I will list them right now. The first, well, not the first ones. Okay, actually, let me say a little thing I don't personally like about the video, but that's just me as a whole, like as a person. I'm not really a fan of learning history, and this video is half of it is just history. And it's talking about like the different people that help contributed to civil engineering as a whole. And while that is important information, I will not be going over that in this video. I do not really care about that. And that could be a major detriment to this video. And I understand, and I'm sorry. All right, so first thing that, the first concentration she actually goes over is structural. Let me see if I can spell structural. Oh, I can. Okay, slash construction. All right. Also, I apologize for my handwriting, and because I write in cursive and I'm trying to write in print, so y'all can see it and read it and all that. Sorry. I'm going to say sorry a lot, by the way. One of the first things she actually talks about is construction and structural, and mainly the similarities and differences between them. A lot of people do end up grouping these two together, and I do too. And to be fair, you can. They do roughly focus on the same things. However, structural is more of like the framework and design, and construction. Actually, I'll do that like down here. I'm just going to say design, even though construction or construction is also design too. Well, it has elements of design also. But structural is more the design of said object, while construction is the actual building of said object. I'm just going to say build. This is one of the things that she goes in depth on, talking about sort of like the vast overview of construction and structural. And even though for civil engineering, unfortunately, this is kind of what everyone thinks. And even though that is correct, there is a little bit more to it. Let me also delve into something that I feel like is not really talked about too, also about civil engineering. Apparently the word, I'm gonna write it. Oh, I'll write it under. I'll write it under. Who doesn't like them? Anyway, apparently the civil in civil engineering actually means civilian. And I did not know that going into it. I feel like we should just talk about that more because even though it was just a nice thing to learn, that civil engineering, being one of the more ancient forms of engineering, was called civil engineering because they wanted to be differentiated from military engineering. And I think that's just a cool aspect. And she also did point that out in her video, so that's over. I guess I gotta do it now, right? Because unfortunately, even though, oh man, it was raised, I'm gonna regret that because like I wanna. Oh, actually, no. I can bring it down a little bit, but unfortunately, even though she does go over different forms of engineering or different forms of concentration within civil engineering, fortunately, the video is mainly just this. I'll even list out a few more things. She did like city planning, which that does fall into civil engineering also. And then also she mentioned hydraulic and geotechnical engineering, but that was at the very end. I'm just going to say hydraulic and then also geotech. And lastly, she did mention sanitation, but she didn't specify for what discipline that would fall under. Because hydraulic doesn't necessarily mean sanitation. I'll put sanitation right here. Even though that is an important facet of civil engineering, or at least not. I'm sorry, I'm trying to pick the best words to try to verbalize my thoughts. Even though this is an important thing with planning a city, I'm not too sure if it falls specifically under civil engineering anymore. Let me start out with my understandings, I guess. And I'm going to also just tell y'all right now, this is mainly due to Northeastern. Even though I've been looking up videos about different concentrations within civil engineering, unfortunately, this is a lot of things that Northeastern kind of implanted into me. Well, not unfortunate because it is generally correct. However, these are not like solely my thoughts. These are thoughts that were taught to me. Well, that kind of delves into the question of what's yours if you're only taught it. You know. But let me just say, like, these are coming through my understanding of Northeastern, not completely unbiased, but also good. I'm guessing what I'm trying to say is I could do more research on it, even though I believe most of these are correct. I think that's that. What Northeastern had, what Northeastern has is mainly structural. Am I writing smaller? I am writing a little smaller. Hopefully you can see that. I'm sorry if you can't. I will try to do better. They mainly have structural, also construction in there. They also have transportation. They also have geotechnical or environmental. I'm just going to say geotech to short. They also have And okay, this is kind of where it gets a little bit fuzzy. Um, I want to separate my understanding with my understanding of environmental. Because even though civil and environmental, okay, no, that's not right. Even though civil and environmental have the same departments at Northeastern, they could still be viewed as different engineerings. My environmental engineering professor, she even specified how environmental engineering could be considered the first engineering, as it had, unfortunately, my understanding of environmental engineering, I'm going to erase this because it's not too important. But I want to say environmental engineering. This is where I believe sanitation comes into play. Because my teacher, she explains to me that as civilizations were first starting to form, they had to quickly find out where were the acceptable places to use the restroom separate from the water supply. Because the different pathogens and bacteria that go into that are in human waste could infect the water supply, uh, making people in this society very ill and even causing them. So environmental engineering is kind of, I want to say it's over there, but I'm going to be honest, I don't really know too much about environmental engineering. Unfortunately, this is also kind of a product of Northeastern, because civil engineering has 3 capstone projects you can do. You can either do structural, you can do transportation, or for civil engineering capstone, you can do environmental. Which is like, well, why can you do environmental if that's its own engineering? It's that is going to take money. Anyway, the unfortunately with environmental, when talking to other students that have already done their capstone, then I'm like, oh, if you're doing an environmental capstone, what does it look like? 9 out of 10, it's always going to be water sanitation, just municipal water treatment. Unfortunately, that is Northeastern's understanding of environmental engineering. It should be bigger, but fortunately, that's our only understanding of it, and I don't have too much to say on it. And now I feel that is a disservice to environmental engineering. And I'm sorry. But my understanding, geotech, all that. Oh, also, I don't think this is like a best word for it, but water, but it could also be called like coastal engineering. And then, okay, this is where I get to really my gripe of civil engineering as a whole, or specifically at Northeastern. My gripe with it is energy system. When going into, or hopefully in my career, I wish to work with energy systems, specifically renewable energy systems, even more specifically wind turbines, but I really just want to delve into them as a whole. However, Northeastern doesn't really have a pathway to help students who are interested in this kind of flourish. They have energy systems class, but unfortunately, a problem with that class is it doesn't really focus with energy systems like how I'm going to erase environmental because unfortunately that's not really good. It doesn't really delve within what I find accessible with energy system. It really goes into like the construction side, or I guess the structural side. It's more of like LEED certification. like, you know how ISAC is, I think, platinum LEED certified. Basically, the rainwater, well, it has ducts to collect rainwater and use it for their toilet water. It's designed specifically in a way for heat to not really escape the building, which is good because it lowers the cost of heating during the winter. And I also believe it was designed in a way so that there would be specific shades during the specific time of day, and that's going to be really helpful during summer. Basically, LEED certification on a building basically is asking how self-sustaining is that building. Another thing that this class goes into are like heat pumps, specifically underground heat pumps. Mainly because when you're heating a home, you need to know a few things. First, you have like a high efficiency boiler, which compensates for draining and all that. And also heat pumps, which underground heat pumps are probably one of the better ones, mainly because there's heat in the ground. And what heat pumps do, underground heat pumps, they transfer the heat in the ground to the heating in your home during winter. And that helps the environment because they, what is it? They have very low emissions, I believe. Basically, all energy systems that Northeastern care about are more on the construction side of like building a building side or managing a house side. Not really about like creating wind farms side or solar panels side. And in fact, it's kind of unfortunate because there are a lot of interesting things in energy systems. How like there's a case study in Hawaii where I forget what city it was. In Hawaii, there was a study done where they got residents, where they were giving residents credits for having their own solar panels. So residents did. But it was too many solar panels. There was too much electricity being generated, and it fried the grid. So they actively had to dissuade people from like getting solar panels because it was too much power. Or like the Wind King case study in Massachusetts, where it was people trying to build. Also, an important term for a lot of things in energy systems is not in my backyard. NIMBY. Mainly because even though people can advocate for renewables, they don't actually want them, or at least not where they can see it. The Cape Wind project, they're trying to build wind turbines along the southern coast in Massachusetts. However, there is significant pushback in these rich neighborhoods because they could see the so-called wind turbines, and they're like, that does not look appealing. Can we just not do it here, even though that would generate the most electricity? Unfortunately, another issue arises with it because apparently the land they were also planning to build on not only being undesired by the rich people that lived there, was also Native American land. So they just decided to close out the whole project. However, then you have to delve into the difference of like, why did you really close the project? Did you close the project because it was Native American land and you actually respected them? Or did you close the project because the Nisbet people who are loaded, like rich out of the pocket, bro, because they paid you enough to not build a wind turbine? Unfortunately, I don't feel like Northeastern has a good understanding of this. And I also don't feel like the world has a good understanding of civil engineering. I just want to kind of, fuck, I may have been too long. I'm sorry. I'm still going to post it anyway. I don't care. Mainly because this is very informal. How you doing? This is very informal. I'm just trying to like show y'all my understanding. That's going to take a little bit of time, and I apologize. But basically, the world's understanding of civil engineering is mainly construction. And even though Northeastern offers more stuff, like I know a lot of people that are in it for transportation, and they should. Transportation is very important. However, I feel like there's more things we could also focus on it too. And along with energy systems, I even erased it too. That makes it sad because I was going to say environmental engineering also deserves some really. Oh, will you look at this? All right. Basically, I feel that Northeastern and society as a whole should look at civil engineering and environmental engineering in a more encompassing light because there are a lot of things that could really be offered through civil engineering. It is helping society or it is making society. Dr. Samara actually does go through like a really encompassing example where she's like, what if we stumbled upon an island and we had to create society? And I, even though I believe it's a little bit corny, I think that's a perfect way to describe civil engineering because this really is like the groundwork for how we live, in a sense. Because, like, the buildings, the roads we walk on, the ground we stand on to even build a building in the first place. And environmental engineering for the sanitation of water. And then the energy systems that actually power our lights. I just feel like we should look at it more as a whole. Because I'm not going into it for construction. Maybe structural, I don't know. But I'm really going into it for this. And I feel like civil engineering should be more in line by that. That's my presentation. Again, I highly recommend Dr. Samara's or Crash Courses video on civil engineering if you just want to learn about the history of it. But if you just want to kind of go into like more of like the disciplines and concentrations within it, this is mainly my understanding. That's it. Have a good rest of your day. Hopefully watch this on 2 times, be it honestly. That's it. Bye.